My name is Maryanne Jambi. I'm 44 years old, a mother of two, but one is an angel. She was 20 years, and my other daughter is 13 years old. I'm a third born to a family of 5 girls, and we were raised in a nuclear family, but our parents also passed on. So we are just living life day after day, and I'm here to share my story about my late daughter who passed on in 2020. For now, I'm a single mother raising my 13-year-old daughter. We stay together, and I'm doing plus size modeling for a while, and I was doing an 8 to 5 job, but I got fired because of my daughter's sickness. I couldn't handle like the pressure, and then I couldn't perform well because of the stress that was happening every time. She was always sick, but I sorted for plus size modeling because it was like freelance and it was not 8 to 5, so I had more time to spend with her. She needed a lot of attention and care because she was at a bad state. So right now I'm with my other daughter. She's called Faith. My late daughter is called Mobese. For my first child, I gave birth to her in my early 20s. So the dad and I met when we were just dating. So he's my boyfriend from my youthful days. Then he relocated to the UK. He remarried, and then I got married later after 5 years to now Faith's dad. It's another guy, he's Kikuyu. And we decided to part ways because it couldn't work, but we try to co-parent as much as possible, so I don't deny him access to Faith, communication and everything. He's in her life. So I'm humbled for my beginnings and my future with Faith, and I'm hopeful that it's going to be great. Okay, I'm beginning the story for my 20-year-old daughter, the late. She was called Mobese. As it happened, it was a normal delivery. She was very healthy, very jolly, very happy. And then, unfortunately, at 15 years, she got a cough, which couldn't go away. She had attended a church camp, which had lasted for a week. So after the 1 week, we treated it with antibiotics and drugs. But eventually, she got some other condition called candidiasis. Those are sores on the lips, mouth, and tongue. But she got admitted to a hospital in Gong Road called Melchizedek. Now, during that admission, it lasted like for 3 days, but she was tested, like her blood was tested, her kidneys, and then there were no underlying conditions, so they discharged her. After the discharge, a while later, in the course of a month, she really lost weight drastically. And then we took action. That one forced us to do a sputum test and x-rays. Now they revealed like she has TB, lung TB. So when she was diagnosed with that, we started the treatment immediately because it needed like caution. So she started with the TB drugs. She took them for like 6 months, continuous without stopping. And then in the process, we used to go for review like every 2 weeks. So they encouraged us, and we had hope like she will get better. During that treatment, the 6 months when they were over, they said that if it relapsed, like the TB didn't go away. So that's when they diagnosed her for more TB drug treatment. And that it went on like for 6 more months. Eventually, that's a 1 year duration. After the 1 year, we were told to seek a chest specialist. Now, the chest specialist revealed to us that she couldn't have extended with the TB drugs. And now, after that 1 year, another condition occurred. It's called aspergillosis. That's like damaged lungs or holes in the lungs. So the chest specialist now started on a new prescription for aspergillosis. We started now managing it because it was too late. The TB drugs managed now there. They didn't like cure the TB. They caused more damage. So we treated it like from 16 years up to now 20 years when she passed on. Now the journey was so painful because seeing her, like she had like given up, she was crying most of the time, she had despaired. But at the same time, she kept saying like God is there. So I looked at her like she's in pain, but she's not abusing or denying God. So it kept me going. So eventually, after the aspergillosis, unfortunately, they also damaged her nerves. Now that's another condition altogether. It's called GBS. It's like it damages the nerves and the immune system. So she couldn't walk, she couldn't stand, she couldn't sit, and she was using Pampers. Eventually, she got wounds along all her legs from the knee to the ankle. All her legs, both her legs got wounds, which were not healing. And then they told us now that's diabetes. You see, when your immunity is low, many conditions attack your body. So we were just managing. Eventually, she started taking supplements because the drugs were doing more damage. So in the journey, I was encouraged to keep going because she was a very spiritual girl. When she was fine before, in between the 16 years to 20 years, when she was walking, her journey was with God. So she would want to like visit a retreat called Wendo. It's a Christian retreat in Nakuru. So every time I was able, I supported her because she kept saying that she felt peace and God's presence there. So every time I would support her to go there, and then she would hold for us fellowships, me and my sister. She would make us hold fellowships, like at 7 sharp, she would say, stop what you're doing, we're having fellowship. So she kept insisting on forgiveness, thanksgiving, like saying what you're thankful for. She quoted Bible verses, we used to sing hymns. So it brought us closer to God and the family united. So at some point, it was me and Faith. So Faith used to help me like carry her, change her. It was so hectic for her, like it affected her performance, even in school, her concentration. But at some point, my sister took us in her house to help me at least, like even with cleaning, carrying her, changing her. So we ended up also doing fellowships with my sister and also my niece, who is also, she's now like 7 years. So the journey was very touching, encouraging, because she kept telling me like she's proud of me and she's seeing my efforts. So I got encouraged. She's like, Mom, keep going. Don't worry. I'm seeing you're working hard and you're trying your best. So that's when we had hope like she's going to get well, but it ended up that way. So in some part of the journey, I sought some answers. So some of the people were saying like she's cursed, and then others said like, I don't know, it's not normal, because even when you go to hospital, the doctor was like, it's not normal for a child like that to go through all that. Like she was having diseases of old people. So at some point, you start believing because they kept saying it. But her, she was strong in God. She was very strong in God. So there was a time a pastor visited. I had bought her a long chair. They're called chaise lounge for relaxing somehow, to make her feel at least comfortable. So the pastor told us like she's sleeping there with God. Like her, she can see him, but us, we can't. So eventually, when you start thinking about all these things, they are like signs, like she was going. But I don't know, I think I wasn't that spiritual at that point. Then at some point also, her phone died. The bulbs were bursting. We were told all these signs are like to prepare you like somebody is going. So I was wishing like we had read the signs before, but it's too late, and then you're figuring it out at this point. But I was encouraged because she never left God. So you're like, if her, she can be at acceptance, why not you? So there's a point she used to be like very strong for her sister. She used to tell her like advice, like those are the moments we miss. Like she was a confidant, she was a big sister, she took her role very well. She used to love cooking. But then at some times, you realize like it's a transition because she's still with us. At the same time, it's just accepting, just the process of acceptance. Because the chair is still there where she passed on. We still use it. And there are no nightmares or anything. There's peace in the house. We sleep well. And then sometimes it's like, I don't know, you're fooling yourself to believe like she's still there. But there's sometimes she sounds like her sister. Faith sounds now like Mobese. Her voice, like she doesn't even realize she's doing it. So we feel like she's around us. As much as the memories are there, we cannot forget her. So even when people tell you things like their curses and everything, it's not going to bring her back. Because even others were telling me to sue the doctors. But I don't think it's worth it. At this point, there's no way like they can bring her back. So we are learning just to seek more peace, seek happiness, because she would want us to be happy. And because there's a point she appeared to me in a dream. Then she told me, Mom, I'm happy where I am. Just go on and like be happy. So whenever we are happy, I feel like she's clapping for us. So I have no argument about being happy, because people might question like, why are you always happy? But the one who I held in my heart would want me to be happy. So I try to seek more happiness, spending more time with Faith, because that's all we have left. And knowing that our journey, we are also headed there. So I also seek for grace, like for God to give me grace to know that I'm going, like, maybe time to repent, time to prepare people. I seek for all those things. Because everybody around us was spiritual. Like I remember my second born sister, she used to come and have communion with us. Okay, I took it like it's the Last Supper, because it was actually, literally. Because the day, like a week before she passed, we had been taking that communion very frequently. So when you think about all these things, recounting, it's like this was a sign. We were already shown like she's not going to be with us. And then she told me to find a distraction. So you see, she was preparing me like she won't be there. The challenges we face obviously are maybe the listening to the songs she sings. They bring a lot of, course she used to sing them, so we sing, we feel a bit sad. But we are like, it's okay, she's still with us. And then just feeling her presence sometimes, those are the challenges. But I had a very strong support system. My sisters came through, we buried her well. Actually, when she passed on, we first called an ambulance who tried to resuscitate her, but in vain, of course. Then in that process, they wrote a letter so that we can get a burial permit. Remember, it was in 2020 when COVID was at a high peak. So we had to get a burial permit, and then the heirs came for her body. But that was very hectic to see her body wrapped. It was wrapped in an orange clothing or something. So the journey from carrying the body from the house to the heirs was very tough. I almost like collapsed or something, but my sisters held me. But we buried her on a Saturday. So it was a smooth journey because the church was also there. They were there spiritually, financially, paid for the grounds, prayed for us, because not everybody would attend. We only had 15 people, but it went smoothly. And then the dad could not attend the burial because he was in UK. They were still on lockdown. But they also contributed. And we also had a memorial in October. He came now to do the, what do you call it, like to do the tomb. To put a stone there, to like a marble, to shield it. So they came in October 19th. That was last year, October. So he came like to pay his last respects, and that was basically it. He was in her life, but we had to just write a text like the daughter has passed on. It has not been easy. Nobody can lie to you that it's been easy. But the acceptance, I think it's the biggest secret. Because once you accept, you will know, like, you just know, like, she's not coming back. But she's still with us, and now we needed maybe a guardian angel, I think. So we are trusting God in this process. Like, He's left us with faith. He knows the purpose. And I pray that we find a purpose, because she would have wanted to be a TB ambassador, and she was a very good poet. So in a way, I would like to be her voice, because she wouldn't have wanted anybody else to go through what she went through, all the struggles, all the pain. She kept saying, like, all this pain in one person. So it was a lot. It was a lot to withstand, you can imagine. But she sought God. That's what encourages me the most. So we are here with faith, trying to live our lives, nurture her talents. Faith is very talented. She can sing, she can dance, she can act, she can model. She also draws at her free time. So I feel like sometimes she expresses her emotions, and maybe she can also speak for her sister through the art she does. So I'm trying my best to be her strength. I'm not perfect, because sometimes we both break down. But the best thing is to be each other's rock. Obviously, you seek God first, because at first it's hard, like, to seek God. Personally, I was very bitter, like asking God, you could have taken her when she was a baby. Maybe I could have miscarried. I didn't want to ask him, because it was not doing me any good, yeah? It was becoming worse. And then eventually I got a wake-up call, like faith reminded me I still have her. So I chose to be her strength, more stronger. I was weak for Mobese, but now I'm strong for faith. So it's a journey, but I believe we'll get through it. TB is a free treatment. So we came from TB to aspergillosis, which is a very expensive disease. And then, worse still, the insurance denied her cover, and NHIF could only cover X-rays and CT scans. So I had to use up some savings from my previous jobs. I used to work in Mombasa Road Tile and Carpet. So I used up my savings, and eventually I sought help from church. They really came through for her. I must say, I thank God for my church. Otherwise, I could have given up a long time ago. My church was the strongest support. They came in financially and spiritually. Because her friends also used to come visit her. They bring her food. So that's how we coped for a while. And then still, I used to have some gigs from plus size modeling. So all that money chipped in, because there was no way we could stop the drugs. If you stop, you start afresh. So it was a continuous process. We really had to do that. But the biggest challenge was the financial constraint, which I pray God will return. Because obviously, even in the healing process, you have to take a break, like from work. So I had to use, like, the church had still contributed some money. We had to use that while I'm taking a break. Then I believe, like, it's a comeback, or like beginning afresh. To start, like, now with because I model for fashion houses. So I'm believing, like, God will bring more jobs, because I have to cater for faith. I'm trusting him completely, like he's going to restore what they say, like, God restores what the devil stole from you. So I believe that I'm going to get back on my feet soonest. The process of being fired and now sorting for plus size modeling is a duration, like, of 1 year. Because when I was fired, I had a few savings, but then I had to really get back to earning. So I started, like, still inbox. It started like a joke, like I inboxed one fashion house. Then I used those pictures to post in other fashion houses. So I used to get gigs, like, once a week, sometimes in 2 weeks. But that, at least, I'm thankful. I don't like counting the challenges more, but they're looking at it in a positive side, because it made me spend more time with my daughters. and still I was chipping in. And then the dad would also chip in a little. But when he doesn't, I had to be the sole. Like, if he doesn't, I can't wait for him. And the drugs still had to be bought. You see, they are everyday drugs and they were bought weekly. Like once a week, you would spend like 15 to 20K because those are the drugs plus the diet. There are some things she couldn't eat. So it was the biggest challenge. But I'm looking, now these are when I'm recounting, like, on a positive side, it gave me time to spend because modeling is not 8 to 5. And then I rely I rely on calls. So you can get a call today, tomorrow you don't get. Actually, it's like once a week or once in 2 weeks. So it's not like taking much of my time because still faith needs me. So I'm thanking God, like at least I'm able to nurture her, be there for her, and everything. The lessons I would learn is just like to hold on to God. Because despite everything, even we don't have to praise him only when you're getting a lot of money, when you're getting finances, even in bad situations. My daughter was the one who kept reminding me, God is there no matter what. And then at the same time, cherish the moments you have with your loved ones. Tell them everything. Appreciate all the moments. And then also take care of the ones you love, basically their mental health. It's very important to be there. You don't have to give them money, but sometimes they only need love. Because Mobese needed a lot of love, care, attention. That's what kept her, like from 15 to 20 years. It sustained her in a way. She knew she was loved. And I thank God, like, she appreciated. So I thank God, like, I gave her her flowers when she was still alive, according to her, because she kept reminding me, like, I'm her rock and everything. So I think that's why I would heal faster, because I'm at peace to know that I did my best, and the person I did it for appreciated and acknowledged it. I would tell people to keep holding on and to ask God for your purpose. Because I think I'm believing, like, my purpose is to maybe speak up for Mobese and maybe inspire people, because it's very satisfying. Yeah? When you inspire people going through tough times, they can come out and talk about it, or they can face their challenges. Just keep going, because there's nothing as bad as living a purposeless life. Because I feel like Mobese also lived her purpose. She taught us forgiveness. She brought us closer to God. Like, even her age mates were so amazed by her power of love, forgiveness. She used to unite people together. While the others were taking drugs and getting drunk, she would just, like, I'm not saying she was perfect and holy, but 90% she would seek God. So I would advise people, just seek God, ask him, and trust him only, because you can't put your trust on people. I think some things are spiritual. I feel like Mobese's journey was spiritual because everything was no. Huh? Every time you go, like, to seek for help, like, there's a time she was very sick between 15 and 16 years. I had sought help from Facebook and guys chipped in. But at a later stage, they didn't. So I felt like we are being told no, because even the insurance cover was denied. So I feel like you should really see, that's why you should seek God to know, like, are you fighting a spiritual battle? Or because some doctors can't treat everything. Some things are spiritual. So that's why I'm saying you should seek God for wisdom to know, how am I going to handle this? And still at the same time, I would also say the negligence of doctors, I'm sorry to say it, maybe you should just seek for wisdom. Because even when we sought for a second opinion, the doctors said the same thing. Our hands were in the doctors. We put our lives in the doctor's hands. So I feel if we felt maybe God's guidance and wisdom, maybe it's good, you can handle things differently, trusting him totally.